It's time for Twig This Week in Google, and the big story just broke as we go to press, as they say. Lenovo buys Motorola Mobility from Google. Is it a huge gain for Motorola, a huge loss for Google? Our analysts explain right after this.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 234, recorded January 29th, 2014. A six-pack of Rolexes. This Week in Google is brought to you by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you'll finally have your entire financial life in one place and get a clear view of everything you own. Best of all, it's free. To sign up, go to personalcapital.com/twig. And by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free 2-week trial and 10% off, visit squarespace.com and use the offer code TWIG1. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show that covers the Googleverse, the cloud, Facebook, the Twitter. Gina Trapani is here from thinkup.com. Hi, Gina.
Hello. Good to be here.
Watch her carefully because the sun will set in New York City.
Yes,
She will darken.
It is getting dark. I'm going to get darker.
I think more snow's on the way, is it not?
No, it's just colder than a newspaper publisher's heart.
Oh, I love it. That's Jeff Jarvis. He's our journalism expert, professor of journalism at the City University of New York. Google expert, too. What would Google do? And, of course, his latest is Public Parts. And Gutenberg the Geek.
Which today, this is why students could get it, is free.
What?
So if you go, you can get it today for free. The Kindle single version, not the Audible version.
Right. Go to Amazon.com and type in Gutenberg
the Geek.
The Geek.
I never require my students to buy my books, so I make it free.
Isn't that nice?
For them.
That's kind of you.
I think it's a nice thing for me.
So, on Sunday we had Why Gluten Free at 0. Now Gutenberg the Geek at 0. You choose. Also with us, Kevin Marks.
Hi there.
The expert on open standards. A guy who worked very hard first at the BBC, then was hired by Apple to work on QuickTime, worked at Google, British Telecom, Salesforce.com. He has been everywhere. Nice to have you, Kevin.
Nice to be back.
Just before the show began, big news broke. Kind of a shocker, even. According to, at first, China Daily, then Reuters, the New York Times chimed in, as did TechCrunch. Google is in talks to sell the Motorola Mobility division, the Moto X, the Moto G phones, to Lenovo, a Chinese company. Google paid more than $12 billion for Motorola about a year ago, and now reportedly is selling it for $3 billion.
$3 billion.
Although what's not clear is how much of the patent portfolio goes along with Motorola Mobility. China Daily says 10,000 patents, but it strikes me that might be something Google would keep a hold of. Although the patents haven't been as useful. Well, we don't know how useful. They might have been a deterrent. They haven't used the patents to sue anybody.
Was there ever a valuation put on the patents or put on the business?
No.
Of Motorola separately?
And there were a lot of articles saying, why did Google buy Motorola? And the consensus seemed to be patents, although I thought it was a great deal to get into the handset business and make do something, a pure Google handset. They didn't really do that. They kept the Nexus line. They didn't want to give Motorola too much of an advantage because they didn't want to lose Samsung, HTC, LG, and all the others. So Motorola was just yet another handset maker. Didn't have much of an advantage by being partnered with Google, except for that big marketing budget for the Moto X. You saw a lot of ads. But while we don't know for sure, it seems they were losing considerable amount of money on the Moto X, the Moto G. In fact, I just bought a new Moto X, an updated Moto X, for $100 off. They offered a deal on Monday for 1 hour. I know. What's the point, right? But they've been doing a lot of those. I think that's coming back.
What did you pay for it then?
So unlocked, Moto X, 32 gigs of RAM, wooden back, because that's what I really want. That's the main reason I bought it. $350. That's a good price for an unlocked.
Very good price.
That's
It's not a
very
Google.
good.
Yeah, it's not a Google experience, but it's to me, it's
close enough.
it's better. It's close, more than close enough. It's better in some respects.
Well, that's,
Yeah, I mean, I wish I did have the wake
that's
up in the
cheaper
car
than
thing.
the Nexus 5, isn't it?
For 32 gigs, I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, the 32 gigs was. Well, I bought one last week because mine got stolen. So
Storage, not RAM. I'm sorry, I said RAM. 32 gigs of storage is
yeah,
it's
so it's got 2 gigs of RAM, right?
2 gigs of RAM, I think, or 1. No, it might have 1. It's not one of the.
So would you own a Chinese cell phone?
Well, here's the interesting thing, and this is the backstory to this. Lenovo already makes phones. They make quite good Android phones. There were rumors they might make, considering they're a Windows OEM, they might make Windows phones, but they haven't to date. And they have not yet started selling Lenovo phones in the U.S., although they said they were thinking about it. So while I don't know how much sense this makes for Google, it makes a lot of sense for Lenovo. It's a way for them to quickly get into the U.S. market with, I don't know how popular the Motorola phone is, but it's certainly a great U.S. brand, and it is made in the U.S. of A. So I think
What makes sense to me too is that I don't think Google gets the value it needs out of Play Editions, which by the way it's another story today. They may change the name of that of Nexus, but the Play and Nexus editions. So they get the value out of that. They can make the things, and they were never really meant to be a large consumer hardware manufacturer. I don't think. I think it's just so out of their sphere.
Yet they just acquired Nest. They've kind of, it's looked like Google has been building a portfolio of consumer devices, and certainly they're pushing hard on.
All right, here's another theory. Did it piss off the other phone manufacturers?
Maybe.
And there's another story yet on the rundown today that says that Google reached an agreement allegedly with Samsung, in which Samsung is going to get rid of some of its ridiculous apps and get closer to get a purer experience. It's on the rundown. So maybe Samsung's, we're going our own way. And Google says, okay, we're out of the phone business. Now stay friends. I don't know.
It's a disappointment to me, I have to say, because I
think it is too.
This has been my daily driver since the Moto X came out, and as I said, I just bought another one. I like it so much. And I liked it that it was
bought it today, knowing this news?
Probably not. I would certainly want to take a wait and see, right? I don't know what Lenovo's going to do with it. But I like it that it's. I liked how closely tied to Google they were, and I'm feeling like that's too bad. But I guess you might be right, Jeff. They needed to do this to assuage.
I never heard tension. I never heard complaints. Saw any evidence of that. There was some speculation there might be. None of that seemed to rise up. So it's rank speculation on my part. Rank.
It's a head scratcher. Otherwise, I don't know. I always looked at the Moto X and the Moto G as like their first phone, and it'll get better. And I had kind of the same hopes as Leo had, like, that they'll become a phone manufacturer, that they'll own Motorola more than be like, they're a separate, they're operating under this, their name and their separate business, and constantly kind of making them a separate thing. But I thought that the Moto X is a great device. Leo, did you say you wouldn't have bought the Moto X if it had been if Motorola had been owned by Lenovo?
Well, it's the same phone, obviously, so I like it, but part of the reason I like it is because it's a Google phone, and one presumes it'll get the updates faster. It got KitKat within 2 weeks of the release of KitKat.
Right.
It presumably will get 4.42, imminently. I wonder, and the other thing is, of course, I worry about Lenovo. Now, to their credit, when Lenovo bought IBM's ThinkPad division, they did a great job with it and kept that vaunted brand in the forefront, and it continues to make excellent ThinkPads. And other, Windows laptops. So, in that respect, they're good. They are, by the way, partially owned by the Chinese government, I believe.
Yeah, that's the part that makes me nervous. Though, hell of an American, we have the NSA, but.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? Somebody's going to spy on you.
Well, I mean,
what was the joke? Would you rather have an American server in China or a Chinese server in America?
At this point, you just got to assume everybody knows what you do on your phone and leave it at that. If there is an announcement, Lenovo does say they will be making a big announcement about a major acquisition Thursday morning in Beijing, which is pretty soon, I think. This is a big move for Lenovo. $3 billion is a good deal, too, I have to say, given how much Google paid, $12.5 billion. The Lenovo has said the company's tablets and smartphones will be entering the U.S. and Western European markets by 2015. Well, guess what? Maybe not. Maybe sooner. Although now this would have to be approved, right? And who knows? I mean, I don't know what the approval would look like. Will they continue to make phones in the U.S.? Will they continue to make the Moto X and Moto G? I don't know. Will they lard them with, crapware like the other phones are? That would be a great disappointment to me.
It's almost 6 a.m. in Beijing.
Yeah, so it should be soon. We're all thinking. We're all thinking. Apparently, according to Tim Stevens at CNET, Lenovo was taking an active interest in BlackBerry, but the Canadian government said no. Remember that? The Canadian government said BlackBerry has to be purchased. Majority ownership has to be in Canada, stay in Canada.
Is there any chance that the U.S. government blocks this?
I think there's a huge chance.
On what basis, by the way?
We don't like
Technology
China.
transfer?
I don't know. Yeah, technology transfer would be a good start.
Was there a discussion of that possibility when IBM sold? I think it was, wasn't it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. Boy, this one has left us stumped.
It is probably one of the most unexpected things I can imagine. They just bought Motorola for a huge amount of money. It was 2011. It's been over a year. But it just seems like a quick capitulation.
Google stock is down 1.3%, 1.4%, but then so is all of tech.
Right.
Except Microsoft, which is up 1%.
Right.
The market's tanking. Blame Apple. So the one thing maybe for, if Lenovo is going to buy Motorola, the big deal for Motorola is they have US manufacturing. It may be that Lenovo is looking to acquire a US manufacturing base so that when there are coming trade wars over everything's made in China, they want that. So that's one possibility. And I suspect any deal they'd have to do with the government would involve like not shutting down factories.
Right.
That's the point where governments get interested,
right.
Isn't it?
Well, but various pieces of the phone will still come from China and can still have backdoors installed in them. So they're just assembled.
We just want to keep the jobs in the U.S.
Yeah.
We don't care about the spying part.
You can install backdoors in anything now. The story that got me recently was that SD cards are very easy to backdoor because SD cards have stopped being raw storage a few years ago, and they all run little microcontrollers because the storage is so small now. It's crappy, so you have to have an OS running a file system on there to sort of hide the defects in it. And these are all like strange closed source or semi-open source microcontrollers that therefore you can take them over more easily because they never get patched. So SD cards are a new vector for things.
Great, that's
something you'd have thought of at all. You can put the SD card in your phone and suddenly it's sitting there running software and looking at every image you take and what you call them and time of day and things and location.
That's why I've given up. Take my stuff, please. Anyway, that was the big breaking news as we sat down at the table today. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome. This is, by the way, maybe they're going to use the money to defray the expense for the big, what is it, DeepMind?
DeepMind, 500
purchase,
million?
$500 million.
480 something. Yep.
So, tell me about that. What does that mean? Who is DeepMind? It's artificial intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
It's artificial intelligence, but it's self-training networks. So training neural networks on noisy data was the coverage I read about describing what they were doing. So if you remember the project where they wired up a neural network and fed it YouTube and it found cat faces.
Oh, right. That was them?
No, that wasn't them, but that's the group.
Oh, that's
they're
the technology.
Joining. It's that same kind of idea, but apparently these guys have been good at getting neural networks to train when you haven't got a tight feedback loop. The classic neural network is you show it a thing and tell it what the output should be, and you train it to give that. So you can use it for OCR and things like that, optical character recognition. So you showed a picture of a number 6, and then you tell it the output should be number 6, and you picture number 7 and do that over and over again, and eventually it builds something that's a little bit like a image recognition for a brain. One of the things that this group has done, they've taught neural networks to play retro Atari video games by showing them the screen and giving them the 4 up, down, left, right, and fire buttons, and not giving them any rules, or in sense of the game, just giving them feedback that is points. So they've actually got things that can now play Breakout better than humans.
Of course,
by training them.
What's fascinating too is that as part of the deal, part of what sold Google on the deal, according to one report, is that they're creating an ethics committee.
No, it was the other way around. They said as a condition of the deal, they wanted an ethics.
That's what I'm saying. It was a condition of the deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everybody fears Google is Skynet, and they don't want Google to get intelligent, and et cetera, et cetera. So the question is this to improve search, or is this part of the robotics research that Andy Rubin is leading?
Yes, this has been search.
Remember that they hired Ray Kurzweil, who was one of the premier artificial intelligence experts some time ago.
Yes, still is. I mean, his early work was OCR as well. He built machines that would read text for the blind.
Right.
That was his
right.
As well as synthesize and a whole bunch of other interesting stuff.
Right.
But the other thing is, arguably they're trying to build a different bit of the brain. So Kurzweil wants to build a cerebellum, like the memory and resolving part of the brain. It's not memory, it's sort of the layered reasoning part of the brain. And these guys seem to be trying to build the hippocampus, which is the sort of learning and memory part of the brain. And
I love this. Only Kevin Marks would do the anatomical analysis.
The problem is nobody's building a frontal lobe.
That's the question is you've got to build a frontal lobe, but also the bit that no one is building is also the emotional response feedback. No one's building an amygdala.
Who's building the amygdala?
Yeah, we need an amygdala.
That's the piece we're going to need.
Yeah, because otherwise you got a robot that's smart and has no conscience and apparently no impulse control. So you're really screwed.
They should write like movies and stories about this plot.
Yeah, geez, seems like it'd be a fertile area to plumb.
Seems like it.
I had 2 oral surgery yesterday, so I spent the day sitting in front of the TV watching movies without holding an ice pack to my face. So I rewatched 2001. So I'm up to date on this.
You're ready.
And also
Kurzweil gave an interview to the Sunday Times last month, in which he said that by 2029 they will have created a machine that understands language and human emotion, understands it, doesn't have it. And well before that, by 2018, just a few years from now, the Google brain, he's apparently called it the Google brain, will have revolutionized search as we know it. Right? This is the quote. Right now, search is based mostly on looking for keywords. What I'm working on is creating a search engine that understands the meaning of those billions of documents. It'll be more like a human assistant you could talk things over with. This is very HAL 9000, that you can express complicated, even personal concerns to your always-on cybernetic friend. I want this.
Your plastic pal who's fun to be with.
I don't care if it takes over or starts bitching about all the diodes up and down its left side. I want it. But I mean, okay, so they've got the part where you talk to your computer. It's now in all versions of Chrome. Okay, Google. Boom, it comes alive.
Don't say that. All my phones.
I know. We have pinpointed the problem, by the way, because I was playing with it the other day, and people were saying, God damn it, you keep waking up my Motorola X or my Xbox One, or, stop it. All the machines are listening now. I like the idea of it. It's very primitive right now, but you can have a little bit of a conversation. God, I love it if it would just let me talk. That's
the radio guys.
Just let me talk. You listen.
I think
all I need to do with life is talk.
Yeah.
I think this is a conceptual flaw. I know they're all excited about we're building a Star Trek computer, but the reason the Star Trek computer worked like that was because that way they could actually use it as part of the plot and have them talk to it and have it talk back. And actually, it's not very practical to talk to the computer when you're in a bridge full of 20 people doing their jobs.
Right.
And it's not practical to talk to the computer when you're in an office full of 20 people doing their jobs, or on a bus, or in a cafe, or any of the other places we use computers all the time. So for me, this is. I don't talk to the only time I talk to the computer is when you guys are on the other end of it and I'm doing a podcast.
Don't get misled though, but don't get misled by that. I mean, because you could type your query or whatever. The fact that it would be able to better understand your queries, know what you're thinking of instead of what you're actually saying, things like that would be useful.
Kevin, hold on. When you live in cubicle land, lots of people are on the phone, or used to be.
Yeah,
it would be.
I hate it. You know,
That's why Kevin's out of work right now.
If you're sitting there trying to write code, you really don't want somebody next to you on the phone. This is a problem. They actually did some research on this, and they found that people are much more productive when they've got private offices.
Yeah.
If they're actually trying to do something that involves thinking and not being interrupted, and having people talk. You know, what happens is, you know, if you actually look at these open plan offices, everyone has bigger and bigger and more acoustically isolating headphones on.
It's true.
And that's because they're trying to shut that background noise. If you go to you go to somewhere like Facebook where they have these giant open plan offices, half the people there have got headphones on, and they're like that, trying to hide away from each other.
Kevin, my friend, that's not the normal world.
No, I think that is the normal world. In fact, have you seen the ads for Beats headphones? They were running during all the football games, and what they were selling was that these headphones would let you tune out the noise. There was one with Colin Kaepernick, and then I guess in response they made one for Richard Sherman. And let me show you. This is the Beats ad.
The atmosphere was electric. What's it like playing in front of these fans?
It's incredible, man. I think we have the most outstanding fans in the world.
How important is home field advantage?
Notice what's on his head, of course, a pair of
same as we have all season.
Beats
headphones. Continue to take one game at a time.
You like the best corner in the league?
I really do. I really do.
Why don't you say your trash talk is a distraction to your teammates?
It doesn't distract anybody. It motivates.
This is actually a great, timely ad.
Yeah.
Well, you try to set an example. You try to be an example.
How do you cut down
on say your secondary plays dirty?
Well, I take exception to that.
Poor guy. This is why headphones were invented.
Did you fight a lot as a kid?
Not everybody in Compton's gang, man.
Richard, have you gone downhill since college? How many years you're an athlete? Do you feel you're untouchable?
I'm not afraid of anything.
What do you think about your reputation as a thug?
He's finally had enough.
I don't have that reputation.
Richard, do you think you are above the law?
Time to put on the headphones, Richard. Put on the headphones. Peace and quiet waits. Hear what you want is the new slogan for Beats. I think that's a direct response, because how many of us really are in a locker room peppered by questions from the sporting press? But many of us are in offices where people are annoying. This is why people wear headphones.
I like
what?
my Beats.
What?
I can't hear you now.
Well, I don't wear Beats, but I do have Sennheiser 280s.
I love my headphones.
35 dBs of noise reduction, so massive noise reduction. So
these Beats these are amazing. The studios are amazing. They're comfortable. As
Really,
hell.
you like them? Because I always thought they were kind of overpriced.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Okay.
Basically, what happened was
Sennheiser 280 is $90.
I could only exchange. The only thing I found in the store was that, so I used it as an excuse to get them, and I'm happy with them now, though.
Yeah. Well, they sound good. Hey, comfortable headphones that sound good are really a lifesaver. Yeah. I agree.
That's your life.
And I do not, if I get on an airplane without my headphones, I go, oh no, please. It's the worst thing that could happen. It's all, because that baby behind me, the guy in front of me with his phone, and I just want to seal the world out.
Plus, right now in New York, they double as earmuffs, which we need badly because it's cold.
That's
right,
true.
Gina?
Yes, it is cold.
It's not too late to come back to California, Gina. It's getting.
My real estate lawyer might disagree.
Are you moved in yet?
Not yet. Our closing's next week.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. These are expensive headphones. They look good, though. I'm still a newbie to the whole open office thing. I've got crappy earbuds, and they just don't do it.
No. You need ceiling headphones.
Sennheiser 280s.
All right. That's the pick from Mr. Kevin Marks. I personally like
Studio.
Okay, Beat Studio. The recommendation from
Sennheiser 2000.
Jeff. I'll tell you what I wear and love.
H280. That's the one.
Yeah, those are nice. How much are those? $90. That's not bad. They look comfortable.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're Sennheiser make the studio headphones. You can pay like $3,000 for Sennheiser headphones if you want real studio.
That's right.
Headphones. But these are actually recordist headphones, so they've got 35 dB of passive noise cancelling.
Yeah.
Which means you put them on and you're already effectively wearing ear protectors.
I like my classic.
And they sound good.
I like my classic cans, the AKG K240 studio headphones.
Those are good too, but they don't cut out as much sound.
No, they're actually a good choice for people who want to hear a little bit because they're ported.
Yeah.
But if you really want to seal it out, then there's also, these are the Sennheiser H280s.
Yeah.
And they seal your head like you've got a clamp on it.
Those are good. They're the ones. Those are my favorite headphones.
Yeah. We're kind of headphone buffs here. I think we've got all kinds. There's the K240s on chat. Most of us tend to wear those because they're comfortable. You can wear them all day. And they don't really seal out the noise. What are these? These are Audio Technicas? ATH M50s. Both Alex and John, who are audiophiles like these, they're comfy enough. There's nothing comfier than a K240.
So this is the fascinating thing for me is that it used to, like 5 years ago, headphones like that were something only people who use audio professionally wore, and now they're being advertised, in the Super Bowl by the star athletes because suddenly over-the-ear cans are fashionable again. And I think it is this sense of shared space. The tagline of that thing is right. It's like you listen to what you want to hear, and you want to be, as Stina says, you're in this open plan office. There's a lot going on, and you want to pull yourself away from it. And that was the original Sony Walkman idea of this, you have your own soundtrack to the world.
It's kind of interesting that it's back, isn't it?
But it's the other encouraging thing for me is these things actually have good acoustic quality.
Right.
So you can. There's been this sort of myth of MP3s destroying audio quality in the music industry, and actually what's happened is that people have been balancing things badly,
right,
and then MP3ing them. But they said, well, everyone's only listening to crappy little earbuds anyway. We've got to make sure this stuff works. Whereas that's patently not true anymore. Gigantic headphones with audio isolation are mainstream. There are 4 aisles of them in the electronics store compared to like 1 aisle of TVs now, and everyone's walking around wearing them. So that means that we can go back to good quality audio again and stop mixing everything so that it's like compressed for somebody who's got these on and walking in traffic.
I think also comes. So you're absolutely right. It has to start with fashion. Kids can't wear them unless it's okay to wear them. You don't want to be the dork who's wearing headphones. And I saw that with my son Henry, who started wearing lime green headphones about 3 or 4 years ago. It was clearly had become the fashion. Yep. And that's because these earbuds are so not only sound bad, but they fall out. They're crappy. That's what everybody had with their iPod. But I also think it came from the commerce side because people realized, you could build decent headphones really cheap and sell them for a huge premium if you just attach Dr. Dre's name to it.
The markup on the Beats and the follow-on is amazing, yeah.
So it's a very, very profitable business as well. And that's why when you go to CES, you see aisle after aisle after aisle of headphones.
There was a great story in the New York Times, I think about a year and a half ago, about the origin of Beats and the company that originally made them and how Dre and company got them out of it. And it's been a phenomenal business story.
See, now the Wirecutter recommends Bose Quiet Comfort.
Wirecutter is almost always right. In this case, completely wrong.
Yeah, I've tried them. I don't like them.
Okay,
no, I love Wirecutter. That's Brian Lamb and company, and they do a great job. And 99% of the time, I completely agree because the goal of this is pick one, and that's the one. And almost always they're right. I agree with their TV review, but in that case, I cannot. Those are not flat headphones. They're not accurate headphones. They're highly overpriced. But Bose is the king. Yeah, the Bose is the king of markup on this particular. You know where you go is Headroom, which is headphone.com. They sell all the brands. They've been doing it for years, and they have a huge variety. But they also have a lot of helpful information, so you can, pick the headphone that makes sense for you, because it is personal. And really, ideally, you'd go and listen before you buy, because they all have some unique.
Oh, Leo, sounds. In the chat room, there's a press release now. Thank you.
It's official.
Who said it? Yes,
it's official. I am shocked.
The Gadget Priest.
The Gadget Priest just put it up.
Yep, it's investor.google.com. It's the latest press release from the Google.
2.91 billion, including. Let's see.
With a strong PC business and fast-growing smartphone business, this agreement will significantly strengthen Lenovo's position in the smartphone market. They will gain a strong market presence in North America and Latin America, both of which, of course, are Moto X places, as well as a foothold in Western Europe, where Moto X has just recently entered the market. $2.91 billion, including $1.41 billion paid at close, $660 million in cash, $750 million in Lenovo shares. That's interesting. That means Lenovo, Google now has a stake in Lenovo, which I find interesting. Lenovo
and promissory notes.
Yeah, Lenovo gets the Motorola Mobility brand, Motorola, Moto X, Moto G, Droid. The Droid is now a Chinese company. Wow.
Google will maintain ownership of the vast majority of mobile mobility patent portfolio.
There you go.
Including current patent applications and invention disclosures. As part of its ongoing relationship with Google, Lenovo will receive a license to this rich portfolio of patents and other IP. Additionally, Lenovo will receive over 2,000 patent assets, as well as the Motorola Mobility brand and trademark portfolio.
Very interesting. Of course, subject to regulatory approval.
So that means
what's
Google
the market
going to
say?
Down, what, $9 billion on this? They can basically make a $9 billion write down and take that off their profits as well.
Yeah.
So they paid $9 billion for patents.
Well, that was about the
That's
guess,
the way
I
of
think,
looking
of what
at
it was
it,
worth.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, there's more to it than this. Who knows what the agreements include, but they may have acquired a very strong partner in Android as well. Maybe they've said to Lenovo, okay, but you got to keep these Google Experience. We don't know.
And you're not making any Windows phones?
Yeah, they might have kept them out of the Windows market. Not that that matters that much, but it also means that you could, for instance, say from now on the Nexus line is made by Lenovo, period.
Well, no, that's the other story that's up, is they're getting rid of the Nexus line.
So they're going to, is this merely a renaming to Google Experience?
That's what it's speculative, but that's what it says. They will rename it. I don't know what that means.
Does that mean, Nexus has traditionally meant a pure Google Experience, not just.
So that apparently becomes Play. So what's the
distinction though between an HTC Google Experience, a Samsung Galaxy 4 Google Experience, and a Nexus 5? Is there a distinction?
Yes. If they get rid of that, then you have Play editions of other brands' phones, but you have no Google brand phone.
Got it.
Right.
If this is true, Google got out of having branded devices.
Yeah, so they're not rebranding, right? The Google Play editions, which already exist, right? Like I'm holding one here.
So they're dropping Nexus.
They're just dropping Nexus. Yeah, it's superseding by the Google Play edition.
That depresses me far more.
Yeah, me too.
Well, they have hit a problem in that the next Nexus will be the Nexus 6, and that's actually Blade Runner. So
they had to stop. Okay, I got an interesting
they've
theory.
Seen how that one ends. It's like, oh god, where?
What is Google most afraid of right now? Samsung, because Samsung is creating an Android device that is divergent from Google in an extreme way. Now you were saying that there maybe is some sort of agreement now between Google and Samsung.
It's the rundown. Yeah, I put it under Android.
There's an agreement. There's also an agreement for Samsung and Google to collaborate on patents, existing patents, and like patents in the next 10 years.
It's under the third one or fourth one under Android.
They're united in there. If I remember, Google just recently dropped the lawsuit. Motorola just dropped its Samsung lawsuits, right? So they're really united against Microsoft and Apple.
Yeah.
These are the natural. So Recode has the story. After Google pressure, Samsung will dial back Android tweaks and homegrown apps. It's not just Google pressure. I think consumers are doing the same thing. In fact,
I think that's the thing. Because I think Samsung are realizing that they're losing sales to the Nexus 5, partly on price, but partly on the fact that their apps aren't as good.
Yeah.
As somebody pointed out, if they're built in and they're undeletable, it's sort of dead weight on the phone. And it's my wife has the Galaxy 4. I had my Nexus 5 stolen, and when I went to replace it, it was like, no, I'm getting another Nexus 5 definitely. I wouldn't think of buying the Samsung one because of all the sort of weight of those apps and the way it makes. Their apps aren't bad. They're just not quite.
Yeah, no, they're bad.
As up to date as the Google one.
No, they're bad. They're just bad.
The camera app and the slow motion stuff and the things they do in there is fairly good, but I've been impressed with the Nexus 5 for that too. But they're not as good at the cloud services stuff as Google is because nobody is. So that's the.
You take this Moto X Lenovo. I'm going to tell you what to do. You take the Moto X. You give it a 1080p screen. I don't think you have to make it bigger. I think the size is fine. And you put a really damn good camera in it. 8 megapixel, maybe 13 megapixel. Maybe let's go for it. Let's make it a 20 megapixel. Damn good camera in here. And this is a great phone. So I'm hopeful. I'm thinking Lenovo can. I think Google looked for a partner that could take Motorola where Google has been unable to take it. A manufacturing partner, a partner that can make a much better bit of hardware, because Google's biggest fear is the 80% market share that Samsung has in Android, and they're crapping it up. And I think it's very deleterious to Android in general. And so it makes sense that they would both pursue this by saying, Samsung, you got to knock it off. Samsung's also hearing from consumers, I'm sure, and selling this company to Lenovo and saying, here, guys, you got to make a beautiful Google Experience phone to kick Samsung to the curb.
But you know what? It's going to be an expensive phone. Google used this opportunity to try to drop the prices down and pressure the entire industry on cost, and now that's gone. And that depresses, that's why the Nexus being gone depresses me so much, because the only reason they did it on Motorola was because they owned it and they had a business reason to do that. They wanted to spread Android. Nexus, they wanted to show an example of a great phone at a low price. Now Google doesn't have that.
Here's the statement. Larry Page has just made a statement. We've signed an agreement to sell Motorola to Lenovo. This is an important move for Android users everywhere. I want to explain why in detail. We acquired Motorola in 2012 to help supercharge the Android ecosystem by creating a stronger patent portfolio for Google and great smartphones for our users. Over the past 19 months, Dennis Woodside and the team have done a tremendous job reinventing the company. They focused on building a smaller number of great and great value smartphones. Both the Moto G and Moto X are doing really well. I'm very excited about the smartphone lineup for 2014. On the intellectual property side, Motorola's patents have helped create a level playing field, which is good news for all Android users and partners. So he's declared victory, but he says the smartphone market is super competitive. And to thrive, it helps to be all in when it comes to making mobile devices. It's why we believe Motorola will be better served by Lenovo, which has a rapidly growing smartphone business and is the largest and fastest growing PC manufacturer in the world. This is good for Lenovo, I have to say. This move will enable Google to devote our energy to driving innovation across the Android ecosystem for the benefit of smartphone users everywhere. In other words, this will help us not piss off the other OEMs. As a side note, this does not signal a larger shift for our other hardware efforts. To your point, Jeff,
Nest.
The dynamics and maturity of the wearable and home markets, Glass and Nest,
yeah.
for example, are very different from that of the mobile industry. We're excited by the opportunities to build amazing new products for users within these emerging ecosystems. In other words, we're not getting at a hardware, we're not getting at a consumer, we just don't have the resources to devote to phone.
Phones are a sucky business. Matt Howey has a great tweet. I've owned pizzas longer than Google owned Motorola.
Lenovo has the expertise and track record to scale Motorola into a major player within the Android ecosystem. This is, I think, directly in response to Samsung's dominance. They have a lot of experience in hardware, and they have a global reach. In addition, Lenovo intends to keep Motorola's distinct brand identity, just as they did when they acquired ThinkPad from IBM in 2005. They did a very good job of that. Google will retain the vast majority of Motorola patents, which we will continue to use to defend the entire Android ecosystem. The deal has yet to be approved in the U.S. or China, and this usually takes time. So until then, it's business as usual. I'm phenomenally impressed with everything the Motorola team has achieved and confident that with Lenovo as a partner, Motorola will build more and more great products for people everywhere, Larry Page. So he addressed directly some of the obvious concerns.
Also, Ina Fried points out that Google got $2.3 billion for the set-top business.
Ah, that's right.
So take that off.
They didn't lose all that much. I think this might not be a bad deal.
A tax loss, as Kevin says, a tax loss is a beautiful thing for Google.
Yeah.
They may actually be able to stop sending all their money through Ireland now.
Send it through China. All right. So, wow, big, huge story. Jason Howell's watching with interest. Of course, all about Android last night. But this changes the landscape for next episode.
Always the big news breaks
the next day. They did it just for us. Wow, that's...
Well, it dovetails with the news or the rumors about the discontinuation of the Nexus line. Obviously, Google doesn't want to be in the business of making phones or tablets.
Yep.
Very clear, right? They want to be in the early. They want to be in wearables and home because it's not a competitive, mature market yet, but phones is, and they don't want to.
Do you think this was the plan all along?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't think so. I think they're more improvisational than that. I think they'd say, yes, we will buy this and keep it for 3 years and sell it to somebody else.
No, I'm going to agree with you.
They would just iterate around.
I think, what the hell, let's buy it. Let's get the patents. We could turn around right away and sell it, but no, let's use a period of time to demonstrate to the industry what phones can be. Moto X is that. Okay, goodbye. I think you're right in the question, Leo.
I tell you, what it does say to me is that Larry Page is a hell of a chess player, whether he has planned this or improvised this. This is a very interesting strategic move that makes a lot of sense. As he's just
still depressed. I like my Nexus 7. I like my Nexus 5. I like my Chromebook Pixel. I liked what they were doing.
Oh, but I'm fairly sure Lenovo can make a good Chromebook.
Lenovo does make a Chromebook, don't they?
They do, or they are.
Right?
They're going to. They're going to. Yeah.
Yeah, they already make cheap ones, but I'm saying they could probably make a high-end one too.
Well, that's part of the deal probably too, because that was the CES announcement from Lenovo. They're going to do multiple Chromebooks.
Yeah.
And by the way, they said they're out of the phone business, not out of the Chromebook business.
Yes.
Although I don't know what Google's play in the Chromebook
I can no
businesses.
longer say that I live La Vida Google.
You could say I live La Vida Chrome OS or Android. But it makes sense. Google doesn't need to be in the business. They need to foster the business and let many companies get involved. I think this isn't a bad thing at all.
It helps to be all in to compete.
That's what they're saying, isn't it?
That's what they're saying. We were not all in. They didn't want to invest the time and the resources to make Motorola competitive.
We shall return. There's more to talk about, including our changelog in just a bit. Gina Trapani is here from ThinkUp. How's it going? Going well?
Going well. Going well.
Good. Love my ThinkUp. ThinkUp.com, soon to be open to all.
Yes.
Jeff Jarvis from the City University of New York and the author of Public Parts. Gutenberg the Geek is free today, thanks to his students. Is it a new semester?
If you miss it, it's only 99 cents, folks. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're saving $1.
In the U.S.
Is it a new semester beginning? Is that what's going on?
Yes, it is. That's why. So I let my students read it.
New semester. And, this is good because most people assume that professors assign their own books to make a little money. So Jeff's proving. Not Jeff Jarvis. He gives it away.
I plug them a lot, but I don't assign them.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, Mr. Kevin Marks. Always a great pleasure to have Kevin in his garden. Is it raining down there?
No, it's not. It's dry at the moment.
It will be. We're having rain up here.
It's been raining up there. Yeah,
we need it.
You always need it.
It's been a very dry winter. It was in the. I'm gonna say this just to make Jeff and Gina feel bad. It was in the 80s here last week.
Oh, shut up.
We did, and what we were complaining because we need the rain. It's so warm. Gosh, I wish it would rain.
I can't
There's the rain.
There it is, coming your way.
No, I know that the reason it's raining is that because my son took the car to the car wash yesterday, so that's guaranteed to make it rain.
So did Chad, apparently.
Yes, yesterday I got my car washed. Yesterday.
Exactly, yesterday, yeah.
The car wash over here has this thing that says guaranteed free wash if it rains.
Wait, which one?
The rain tree over here.
I don't use that one.
They'll give you a free wash if it rains. I think it has to rain within a few days, obviously. Our show today brought to you by Personal Capital. With Personal Capital, you'll finally have your entire financial life in one place on your computer, on your tablet, on your phone, so you can see in very clear graphs a dashboard of how everything's going. There really are two problems in life with how people manage their money. First, it's hard to keep track of. You come to the end of the month, you go, where did it all go? What happened? You've got, 401ks, you've got bank accounts, charge cards, mortgages, loans. Everything's on different sites. It's not consolidated in one place. And then if you're lucky enough to have some to invest, you'll be either paying somebody to management or paying fees to a brokerage, and it's just you don't know, and there's ways to do it more efficiently. Let's put the power of the cloud to work for us here with Personal Capital. You'll see your whole net worth, how every asset's performing. No data entry. You just give them the account information. It all is collated, put together in a clean, color-coded graphs. It shows you, if you are paying money managers, how much your fees are adding up to, how they're impacting your profit, how you can reduce those fees. You can get specific advice on your investment strategy so you can balance your portfolio. It's very different when you're young than as you approach retirement age. And it's really important that you rebalance kind of continuously, but it's a very hard thing to do. I'm a big fan of this idea of rebalancing your portfolio at least quarterly. But, man, I never do it because it's so – this makes it easy. And the best part is absolutely free. It's not going to cost you a penny. Personal Capital, a smart way to make your money grow quicker. That's why they've been featured in Time, Forbes, Bloomberg, and more. You could set up a free account today as we speak. Go to personalcapital.com/twig. Getting set up takes a minute. It's free, but you got to go to personalcapital.com/twig. And we do thanks Personal Capital so much for their support of This Week in Google. I started using them a year ago when we interviewed, it's not Ed Harris, Tim Harris? The founder of Personal Capital, who was a former CEO at PayPal and Intuit, and learned a lot about how this all works. There it is, Bill Harris. We interviewed him on Triangulation a year ago. He told me, I'm starting this thing, Personal Capital. I signed up then, and I love it. Personalcapital.com/TWIG. I think it's time to break out the horns. Time for another Google changelog.
We help you gather and
the Google changelog.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gina Trapani with the latest from the Google.
Lego lovers, this one's for you. Buildwithchrome.com. This is a site that Google graduated from a Chrome experiment to an actual public website to help promote the new Lego movie. Yeah, have you seen this?
No, this is so cool.
It's pretty awesome. The site uses WebGL 3D graphics, let users build any virtual Lego creation they want using virtual Lego blocks. Very slick web-based interface. You drag the blocks onto you choose your color block.
Of course, it's too complicated for me. I can't figure it out.
Where's your...
And why do I have a map? What is this map? I don't understand.
You have to kind of play around with it a little. Now, it should be showing you the base, your Lego base, but it doesn't seem to be.
I'm in Chrome. Left-click, place brick. Right-click, remove brick. Space and drag, rotate brick.
Yeah, you can zoom, you can add bricks of different sizes and kinds and connect them just like regular Legos. It's pretty awesome. Once you've made something, you sign in with Google Plus, so you can share your creation. You can look at stuff that other people have built on the site as well. There's an explore option when you first go to it. Buildwithchrome.com.
This is all the bricks I ever wanted.
Prepare to lose many hours.
This is fun.
Mine's not working well, though. I don't.
There you go.
Chad, how come yours is working so well?
Yeah, mine's
there
working.
You go, Chad. You got it.
Chad's smarter.
Chad's smarter than I am. Maybe if I sign in with my Google Plus. No, you're basically allow Google. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not signed in, sis. It still works.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a really nice, smooth interface.
That is
I'm getting
sweet.
dizzy.
Chad's really good with Lego. Mine's broken.
Wasted youth.
I blame Minecraft.
Yes, it is very Minecraft.
It is very Minecraft. That was the thing that struck me about it, yeah.
No wonder Chad's so good at it. Neato. All right.
Well, you can...
Buildwithchrome.com.
Buildwithchrome.com.
There's not that satisfying click. Then.
Oh, there is.
Oh, there is?
Can you hear the click? It goes...
No. Oh, neat.
Now, I don't know how to trash here. Let me remove bricks. Whoa, it is like Minecraft, and they just kind of float there.
You can have levitating bricks. Whoops.
Wow. There's also a Build Academy, so you can train to become a master builder. That's good. So this actually, master the... Okay. So do the Academy. Chad, show this. This is nice. This is the Academy. Shows you how to get started. And then every build begins with a base plate, which you can rotate. Try it on your own. And then... Oh, this
and I think
is
it
neat.
features characters from the movie as well.
Oh, it's a movie.
It is a little bit. Yeah, it's for the. It's to promote the movie.
It's all right. Who's not excited about the movie? I don't care.
I mean, who doesn't want to build with virtual Legos?
Is it a Lego movie?
Yeah, it's.
Jeff. It's a Lego movie. There's always a Lego movie.
So, okay, I know we want to keep building Lego, but I should move it along. Google's got
time
a new
to come back to class now.
Oh.
class. Google's got a new one-box search result answer. It's an as the crow flies distance calculation. So if you want to know the distance between two places, even places that you can't fly or drive, you can just enter the query into the box. So if you say, how far is it from Petaluma to Brooklyn? Or how far is it from Brooklyn to Hawaii? Google will display the distance as the crow flies distance in one box results, which is kind of fun. Could be a really fun party game as well. How far do you think it is from Hawaii?
I do this all the time with maps, but it's so painful. This is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
So, yeah. And another little tweak to Google search results. Google search pages now show the name of the site next to the URL. And if it's a well-known name, it's a well-known site that they have knowledge graph information about, you'll see a small card with that information in it. So if you Google search Twit, for example, or YouTube, in the example Chad's showing us, there's a little drop-down, a little kind of knowledge graph card that shows up and tells you what the entity is, who it's owned by, and any other sort of knowledge graph facts included there. So I searched for Twit. There was a little card there for that. There was one for Lifehacker. There's not one for ThinkUp yet because we haven't reached our relevancy yet. But we're working on it. But yeah, see, it says owned by Leo Laporte, which I guess links to your Google Plus profile. I imagine.
Or Wikipedia. That's a Wikipedia entry.
Yeah, it's knowledge graph, which is mostly Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually cites Wikipedia. Okay.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
It's very up to date too. Cool.
And finally, Google announced new designer frames for glass. So if you've already spent the $1,500 on glass, you can now spend another $225 to get new custom frames that have been designed in-house by Google. They're much more normal-looking glasses than the visor-like version. And Google also partnered with one of the largest I've lost the insurance companies that
VPS is the insurance company.
Yes, thank you. Vision insurance providers, and we'll cover glass and get you prescription frames. Thank you, Leo.
Okay.
So yeah, these frames are nice.
They're better than the dorky putting it over. So, two problems I have. One, they don't make clear, because I'm about to send in my old glass on the exchange program that they have. First question, these work with glass proper. You're not getting a different glass, right?
Right. You can actually remove the glass part from your current glass and snap them on to the new frames.
Okay.
Which apparently only work if the electronics are snapped on. And apparently it's very smooth and easy transition. It just snaps on and works.
Yeah. What do you mean it only works if they're snapped on?
I believe that the new frames are designed for glass specifically. So I'm not sure exactly how this works, but I don't think that the frames will stay on your head if glass isn't attached to them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
They are glass.
So you can't just take the glass off your glasses when you go into the movie, but we don't want to go there again.
That would be a nice feature, though. Why can't you just unsnap it?
Oh, the reaction to that last week? I mean, it was so polarized. Some said that I was being a horrible jerk. Some said that you were being a horrible jerk. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But everybody loves Gina. Everybody said, poor Gina.
No, but I realized coming out of the conversation, I really didn't say what I thought because I could see both of your points of view. But in the end, just to make sure that everyone, I was with Jeff in the end. I was with Jeff in that. I felt like, although I would, if I was in a locker room, it's not quite the same in women's bathrooms, but if I was in a gym locker room, I would put the glasses on top of my head at the same time. But I did get with your point of, not assuming the worst. But I didn't want to open that can of worms again. I just wanted to make sure that I had clear about my opinion.
Leo's getting ready to shoot. All right, now, here's my other question. I swear, and since Gina, you have glass too, they say, oh, go buy them now. I saw this, there's a problem in the forum. Every time I and many other people went to try to buy them, it says, hey, become an explorer. No, I am a friggin' explorer. Let me buy the frames. And I can't figure out how to buy them.
Is that a multiple account sign-in thing?
No, I don't think so, because I now have my glass transferred to Buzz Machine, to my apps account.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I transferred it.
But when you become an explorer, they whitelist your account. So they may have whitelisted your Gmail account. So try logging in. Try seeing if you're signed in as your other account. Maybe it's some weirdness around that.
Oh, Google.
I know. Yeah. So when I went to go pick up glass, they like manually added me to some sort of whitelist. They asked me for my Gmail address and did it. So that might have been the issue. If it says that you should become an Explorer.
Look at the okay. Just do me a favor here, folks. Look at the 4 frames. Which one should I buy?
There's 4 frames. I thought there was just one. So they're all titanium.
They're all titanium.
They're light.
I like titanium frames. And how much are they? They're 100.
225, I think, right?
225 on top of the 1500.
That's not bad.
Plus the lens you then have to buy to fit into it.
Now there are companies I've seen here who sell. Optics Planet sells
Rochester also
adapters for Google Glass, so that you could then attach them to prescription glasses.
That's thin, which isn't as thin as split. That's bold. And
that's your look right there.
Oh,
can you get your lips to look like that too?
I think the first one. So kissable.
How come they all have puffy lips? I guess they're all young.
I think that one's the one for me.
Glass gives you nice lips.
Yeah, this one?
Yeah.
Let's put Jeff, tilt your face down a little bit. Purse your lips. Grow your... Oh, no, your beard's good. You're ready with the beard.
Very good.
It's not a good look.
There, my nose is over his nose. Okay, we're on now.
Yeah, you got to match it all up. There you go.
Here, 1 second.
I don't know. You look like John Boehner. It's not working.
If I look like John Boehner, it's like this.
Boehner was darker than Obama. That was the weirdest thing. Has he been in a tanning booth? What's going on with him?
Fries and tans, yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, the whitest man in the world is our vice president. I mean, this is better. This is better.
Yeah. That's good.
Smile, Jeff. Don't look so... Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are for you.
Yeah, sure.
This is freaky.
That's a good look.
Maybe.
Turn your head a little bit to the left, Jeff.
No, the other way. Yeah.
There you go. No, when he smiles, it works. It's good. Yeah.
Screenshots to come in.
They need an Android app that has you try on the frames on your face.
Yeah, doesn't Warby Parker do that? That was the rumor they were going to do a deal with Warby. They should have. I don't know. I think that's your look right there, Jeff. That's kind of
that?
That's kind of the horn rim professorial.
The glass hardware is still too big. Like it looks, and I said this on All About Android last night, still looks too cyborgy. Still better than the visor, but still. Well, that's all I got.
And that's the Google changelog. Does it mean if they're doing frames that it is imminent that they're going to make glass a consumer product?
Seems like they always said they would.
I mean, I think so. They've been pushing updates. I mean, it's not like that. Nothing has changed with it for a while. I think that they're doing frames. They've been pushing out updates. I think that they're committed to glass committed to the consumer release, and I bet it would be this year.
You just saw Larry Page in his statement on the Motorola acquisition mentioned specifically wearables. Yeah. He didn't say glass. He said wearables.
Right, and Sergey's the glass guy, right? So
Right. Gmail goes down for 50 minutes. The world reels. Well, maybe not.
Over half of our ThinkUp subscribers use Gmail. It's amazing that how many people use it, and how it really can throw off things when it's down. I mean, it's just never down. But 50 minutes. Without the drip.
I didn't notice, but that I must have just been at a time when I wasn't paying any attention. YouTube comments didn't work. Google Plus didn't work.
It wasn't just Gmail. I think it was the user graph thing that went down, which is kind of scary. Yeah.
Well, okay. So that's kind of interesting. So there is a tool. There is a service that Gmail Plus both use.
Yeah. I mean, it was the contacts thing from Gmail, and then while I was there, it got made into this centralized service that everyone could use, every Google product could use, and that's partly what all these new Plus and everything else is built on top of.
So it wasn't IMAP or POP that went down; it was this this identity service, basically.
Because that I'm trying hard not to say internal code names. So that basically there's an internal service that is all the profile information, and it was migrated from being your contact details inside your individual Gmail thing, which was sharded over lots of servers, to being a very, very large database of everyone's contacts and everyone's personal profile, and that was then used as the backbone for building out all these other services.
So that would, for instance, if that's the case, then you would have seen Google Connect go down as well, or whatever Google calls it, the login, the centralized login. Chat room, did you?
No, not necessarily the login. No, the login is separate from that.
Okay.
I don't think that went down.
Okay.
That thing has insane uptime. That has like had 100% uptime for something like 9 years.
Oh, okay.
Because they really that is like locked down like anything else. But I think it was the actual the profile information stuff and the ability to pull information about people that seemed to be the bit that was down, and because that's heavily called by these other services, they lost it as well.
Here's the picture of Larry Page with Yang Yuanqing, the chairman and CEO of Lenovo, apparently in Mountain View right now to seal that deal. This is the picture that Google released with the announcement. We're giving you this giant robot. It looks like he's just bought a used robot. I am sorry, but it does.
It's a Trojan horse. It gets there, and little Google cars come out of it.
If the Chinese regulators don't approve this deal, it will be this picture that did it.
Well, that's an interesting question, by the way. Does this affect the relationship of Google to the Chinese government in any way?
Wow. I don't know.
That's much more complicated.
So that's news that I don't think anybody had that news, and it's very interesting, Kevin Marks. But because of your internal knowledge of how this is all wired,
I mean, I haven't seen a post-mortem on it yet. I
haven't either.
They normally write a post-mortem post. I haven't seen one, but I may have just missed it.
Charles Arthur of The Guardian just put this up. Google's original valuation for Motorola Mobility, $2.9 billion cash, $5.5 billion patents, 730 million customer relationships, 2.6 billion goodwill, 670 million net assets, and then I guess that's plus I would guess that's separate from the set-top business.
So they're keeping the goodwill, but they're selling the phones.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, they, as you say, you can write down the goodwill when you feel like it.
Right.
So that means that you can take it as a loss when you want to adjust your balance sheet. That's
new patent for Google Glass. This is a newer design. This just appeared at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Or does it look different? It says it looks different, but that looks kind of, I don't know. You're the guys with the glasses. Does this...
Are those actually earphones? As opposed to bone conduction things?
Yeah, well, that we knew. That was the new version of Google Glass, right? Had headphones. Yeah.
Oh, that's...
yeah.
I'm not having one. I'm not paying much attention.
Yeah. But what this... Yeah, it's on both sides.
So
that's what's new.
This piece of hardware on the front doesn't extend back as far as the current one does.
Okay.
So they're lessening the hardware. Unfortunately, they're lessening the hardware in the back of your ear, which you don't care about, right? You care about what's on your head.
Well, this was all battery back here, right?
Yeah, this is battery. Right, it was battery.
Well, that was also part of how it counterbalanced, wasn't it? To stop it falling off. You got all the weight back here to stop it falling off the front.
Sure, Erwin's here. Erwin, come here. Bring your Google Glass over. So, Erwin, I saw you had a USB connector. Is that to keep it charged? So this new design eliminates this whole temple piece back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the battery, isn't it? And the bone. Oh, that's the bone conductor, though, too. Yeah. Erwin's visiting from Hong Kong.
Right, so that's why this has the...
How long have you had your Google Glass? Since November. And you wear it all the time? You're wearing it over prescription glasses. Are you going to get the new... I don't wear it when I drive. He says he doesn't wear it when he drives. Certainly not in California. You never want to get stopped. The other thing is it's no longer over your right eyebrow unless this is a reversed image. It's over your left eyebrow. Yeah.
That's confusing. You know, the problem with all of these also is you can't fold them like glasses and put them in a pocket.
Right. There's no easy way to
So thus, but if I go to the movie, it would be difficult for me to take them off. because I couldn't fold them.
Wait, but these new frame designs, they're foldable,
You could put
right?
them on the little glasses chain and hang them around your neck, right? You like the...
Oh, yeah. No,
Like
I'm not
librarian
doing
chain
that.
thing.
I'm not doing that. No.
Oh, come on. You're going to do it with your readers any day now, so you might as well just do it with your glass.
Oh, there's a thing. There's a jewelry opportunity.
Yes.
Necklaces.
A lorgnette, a Google lorgnette. I'm waiting for the Google monocle.
To go back to the Gmail, or not the Gmail outage, well, the people graph outage. First, the Google SRE, site reliability engineers, were doing an AMA and asked me anything on Reddit at the time that the downage happened.
Interesting. That's part of the problem. Yep.
And then Yahoo, on their official Twitter account, tweeted that Gmail was down, and then later deleted the tweet and issued an apology saying that they shouldn't have.
Which was their mistake.
Mentioned it. Yeah.
That was the mistake, because it was just a new. They didn't snark. They just said it's down.
Yeah,
that's a news story. The mistake was the apology.
Oh, you
yeah, because it was a news. It's a news feed, and Gmail being down was a story.
That's a news story. It's not a snark. Yeah. For them to apologize is to admit something that did not happen, and to raise questions about why it happened.
Yeah.
But who knows? So it said at 10:55 a.m. This is the official post. An internal system that generates configurations, information that tells other systems how to behave, encountered a software bug and generated an incorrect configuration. It was sent to live services over the next 15 minutes, causing user requests for their data to be ignored. And these services, in turn, generated errors. Wow. Wow.
It gives you a glimpse at how complex this machine is, right?
Yeah.
So the code that writes code wrote the wrong code, which then pushed code and caused other code to respond with a failure.
Get this. Engineers were, this is all from the Google official blog. Engineers were still debugging 12 minutes later when the same system, having automatically cleared the original error, generated a new correct configuration 20 minutes later, 11:14 a.m., and began sending it. Errors, in other words, it's self-corrected.
Wow.
Errors subsided rapidly starting at this time. By 11:30, the correct configuration was everywhere. All user service was restored. In other words, they say this happened automatically and was fixed. I think this is very interesting. Automatically.
That's really interesting.
That's pretty cool. Well, the challenge with if for something to cause an outage at Google, it has to be some kind of cascading failure. Because they have enough redundancy that any given thing will not cause a failure.
Right.
But it's when something changed to some other systems and to other system, that's when things go horribly bad. And the big ones that we've seen they've always had something like that happening, where something causes something else to happen because something else to happen, and therefore they're blocking each other. And it's similar when Amazon goes down. And what happens over time is they find these new failure modes and find ways to protect against them.
Right.
But it's interesting that they've got an automatic system that protects against things generically.
Yeah. That did affect, according to this blog, it's by Ben Trainer of VP Engineering. This blog post says Gmail, Google+, Calendar, and Documents were all affected. But for about 25 minutes, for 10% of users, it persisted for as much as 30 minutes longer. And that's a minor outage.
YouTube was affected.
Pardon me?
Doesn't say YouTube was affected. There's no dashboard.
Gmail, Google+, Calendar, and Documents.
The comments on YouTube, because now those are done by Google+.
Yeah, because that's done through Plus, yeah.
Right. I guess that's not considered a separate service. There's actually another bug that's kind of a more significant bug. Google Calendar was, for a while, adding others to your private events without warning. So if you're having a birthday party tonight and somebody you didn't invite shows up, it's not your fault.
I just had this vision. That's how Kramer gets to a meeting in the company on Seinfeld, in the modern Seinfeld.
No, I think if that's the same one, I think it was them being over smart.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If you make a note to yourself to meet with someone and you include their email address, or then Google would say, "Oh, you're obviously trying to arrange a meeting with." So if I say, contact fred@smith.com, there's a note to myself in the calendar, then it will send a meeting invitation to fred@smith.com if you put it in the title. That was the bug, which you can see how they thought of that as a thing, but yeah, clearly that you don't want it doing that, or at least you want a confirmation dialogue.
Yeah, and probably you shouldn't use email addresses in your event titles. So, as an example, this is the guy who discovered this, Terrence Eden. who says he writes about mobiles, Shakespeare, politics, and usability. I don't know where the Shakespeare comes in, but anyway, he says, my wife likes to set reminders for herself in Google Calendar. Recently, she added a note to her personal Google Calendar reading email alice@example.com to discuss pay rise and set the date for a few months from now. A few months later, Alice, her boss, sent her a meeting accepted email.
Oh
dear. What is that if you hit the smart create button? Quick add?
Quick add.
Because if you do that, then I wouldn't be surprised, right?
Yeah.
If you click quick add and say meeting with whose email
Be
address
careful whose email address you use there, because
Leo at his company.
I've always, Leo at twit.tv you could use. I've always, because I don't read that, I've always seen a would you like to email an invitation to this person dialog box, and which you could then say no.
Send, don't send.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So that's what I got when I got that. It said send invitations.
Yeah. So here's the video of it. You know what? It's the quick entry. It is. It's what you said. It's the quick entry.
Yeah. So the quick entry is trying to parse the.
That's what you're trying to do. If you put an ad in there, it does location. If you put a time or date, it automatically figures it out.
Yeah.
Now see, there's the configuration, but he clicks do not send and it still sends. Whoops.
That's a bug.
Actually, I've had that happen because I actually I have seen this bug. But unlike Terrence, I just wasn't paying attention. I always I put somebody's email in calendar stuff when I do a show. I put maybe your email or whatever, Gina, in the calendar and say don't send an email because I want the Moto X to think I'm in a meeting. And unless there's somebody in the calendar event, it won't be a meeting. So I always put names. And Chad, maybe do you get emails from me every week?
Yes, I get This Week in Tech is starting.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, that's because.
But now, did you see in that video he was showing if it wasn't the quick ad, it didn't do the pop-up.
Oh, so it isn't the quick ad that's the problem.
It was
the normal ad.
It was when you click edit, and then a new event, and it just did it automatically in that video.
He says Google has tried to be clever. He's a Brit. They all say the same thing. It's trying to be clever here. It has failed. Just because I'm talking about someone doesn't mean I'm talking to someone. That is exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's, again, it's a failure of artificial intelligence in the word.
Imagine how much worse it could have been.
Yeah.
Talk to boss about resigning, or talk to employee about firing them.
Chad, forget those emails. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That never happened.
So the fake meeting I've just set up with Leo for next Sunday, it says guests, yes, maybe no, awaiting one.
Oh, you must have sent me an email.
And I didn't send you an email.
Did.
Well, let me check my mail. Well, it's going to take a while to do that.
Leo at Twitter.tv. You have to check that one. That'll take.
Yeah, that's going to take. I don't even know what the password is.
No wonder you don't respond to my email.
No, don't mail me there. You know better than that. Don't mail me at Leo at twit.tv. Who's that? I'm going to log in. Fortunately, I have LastPass remembers it. See if I got an invitation from Kevin Marks. Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did they fix this, right?
Oh, yeah, they fixed it.
They must have fixed this by
Except
now.
that, yeah.
It does say guest. It does say awaiting and guests.
Well, maybe it's not in important and unread. Maybe it's in everything else. It's important.
If you search for Kevin Marks' Gmail.
Oh, yeah, you.
It's still doing it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So here, I can do it live.
Did you get one?
Yeah. So here, delete, notify guests. So if I'm here and I just add an event and immediately hit.
Calendar is insane.
He's a busy boy.
I'm busy. And hit edit event. And then I type in something. So I have email Leo at twit.tv to ask him to stop leaving Aussie poop at my desk. And I just hit save. 1 second, let me let you see it.
Yeah.
And
didn't
then
ask.
It didn't ask.
Yeah.
Didn't ask. And then if I jump back in, you have been added as a guest on this event.
Well, that's normal. That doesn't mean I got an email.
But it didn't.
See the thing about email guests, but Kevin's seeing that awaiting as well.
No, I see that awaiting is the bit that's slightly suspicious.
Yeah. Like that means it's in theory it's emailed me an invite, but I haven't seen an invite. So
and at the bottom of this Verge story, it says Google says that it's aware of the issue and is actively working to fix it. So maybe it is not fixed.
I have this. You canceled the event, Chad? I got an email that you canceled the event. It's been removed from my calendar, but it was added to my calendar. I didn't even say anything.
Huh.
So we'll go to your calendar on that and search.
I don't have a calendar at Leo Twitter. But it's been removed. So we got to do it. I don't. It's enough. It's a problem.
It's a problem, yeah. So the moral of the story is: do not type people's email addresses into invitations unless you want to invite them.
Yes,
because Google is very, very helpful. You know, this is the problem with robots and computers in general. They don't understand anything, but they're trying to be helpful.
But
this is the problem with this AI project, right? They're trying to build this assistant.
Maybe DeepMind will fix this.
Yeah.
DeepMind will know.
There was
that
another
you don't
example of
wanna
this.
invite someone for firing.
Yeah.
This week with this. Did you see the State of the Union one?
No.
I put it in the rundown.
Let me check
in there.
the rundown.
And Gmail just saved me from I put the wrong, John in an email, and it said no, and did you mean this?
It does
John
a good
instead?
job
No,
with
you're
that.
Right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's great. It's brilliant.
Oh.
Yeah, that can be fun, especially when it's like ask me which of the three people with the same name with the same icon are. I want the meeting. It's like show me the email. This is during the State of the Union. Friend of mine searched for State of the Union, and it showed a link to a CNN story with a picture of President Nixon.
Was it this year's State of the Union, or was it doing a 1967 State
during the State of the Union? So it's at the bottom of the Google.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, Tentec did this. Yeah,
Tentec did this. Yeah, and it's like my sense is that this is an extension of the knowledge graph stuff, and it's like a sort of
look at it. That's hysterical.
Ignorance graph or something. It's like a free association graph. They're trying to make these machines behave like brains, and they are behaving like brains. They're like, President of the United States, I don't know, Nixon.
I know the president. He's Richard M. Nixon. I shall help you with a small picture of him.
And I'm not sure where that comes from.
It's the first thing they found at her State of the Union, I guess.
Somebody must have done a history of State of the Unions.
It maybe came from CNN. You know what? That's probably what happened.
Maybe CNN.
It could be a CNN. Well, he said, now Tentec said there was no Nixon image on the linked page.
No, the images very often do not match. Very often.
Yeah.
They're picked from elsewhere.
So I mean, we saw that with the feature Gina talked about with the graphs, knowledge graph things being attached to stuff. When I searched for my name, I found like on various different websites, different little cards about me that had different bits of information on that they've crawled from different places. And they wouldn't actually crawl the one off my own website, which I've carefully marked up with microformats and sent to them. And they would crawl that, but they'll crawl Wikipedia and they'll crawl Google Plus and they'll crawl a few other places and then cobble stuff together and say this is what we think we know.
I've got an idea for a new feature on the show, the Google glitch of the week. Just where a computer did something really dumb trying to do something smart. Because you know what? This is just the beginning.
This is my theory about AI is that the AI they're going to have to build is a sort of self-justification AI, which is the latest theories about how our brains work is that the lower levels of our brains decide something unconsciously, and then the sort of personal narrative part of our brain makes up a reason why we did it. And there's all these wonderful experiments where they can do this by showing people something with their non-dominant eye, and then they will then confabulate an explanation for why they were thinking about that thing with the part of their brain that does speech with the other eye. And there's a bunch of experiments like this, and which is they've basically shown that we decide something, we make an association, and then we will come up with a plausible sounding explanation to ourselves for why we did that. And I suspect that's going to be the next phase of AI, and that's going to start getting really scary because they'll get good at making up plausible explanations for why they showed a picture of Nixon.
Here's something really sad, and I hope this doesn't become a trend, but we're seeing it in San Francisco. Protesters not only defacing and protesting the buses of Google and Apple and other big corporations that have a bus for their San Francisco employees to bus them down. The complaint is, of course, the gentrification of San Francisco, the increase in rent and all of that stuff. And now here's one. Protesters show up at the Berkeley doorstep of the guy who wrote the code for the self-driving car. An image was distributed by a group called Counterforce. Anthony Lewandowski is building an unconscionable world of surveillance, control, and automation. He is also your neighbor, urging people to go to his home on Tuesday and protest. This is so sad.
Yep. Yeah, that's weird.
We don't want to fall into the Perkins comparing this to Kristallnacht.
No, it's not Kristallnacht.
Not a good thing.
But he said it's he of course the founder of Kleiner Perkins in a Wall Street Journal op-ed piece likened this kind of stuff to a progressive Kristallnacht, the Nazi persecution of Jewish shopkeepers by breaking their windows.
The most extreme example of Godwin's law I think I've ever seen.
Yet I also don't think it's. I mean, what he's saying is, what we're seeing is demonization of computer scientists.
Fine, I don't argue with that, but to compare that to the
it's
murder
not
of
the
6
same
million
as,
people,
as killing 6 million Jews, but it is nevertheless a demonization.
Yes.
Did you see him interviewed on Bloomberg where he went even more off the deep end? That was
is that I couldn't find that online. Is that online?
I don't know. I would assume that Bloomberg would post it.
He's older and out of touch. I'll give him.
Yes,
it's not. I understand what he was trying to say. He said it in a very ham-handed and inappropriate way. However, I do understand what he was trying to say, which is, and I think this is something that could potentially be feared, is the mob turning against technology.
Well, and
it's
Leo,
Luddites.
An important part of this too, and again, I hate it following what he said because he was such idiocy, but the new 1% is the technology community.
Right.
If you take my argument that technology leads to efficiency over growth, it leads to greater profitability, productivity, and thus wealth, but wealth in the hands of technology people at the expense of huge numbers of jobs, not directly from robotics or any of that kind of stuff, but just through new efficiencies and new networks.
Well, let me just say, you called me a Luddite last week in a way that was highly inappropriate, and I resent.
Oh, shoot. I'm gonna picket your office, you Luddite.
But this is the Luddites, because that's what happened. Ned Ludd and his protesters broke the looms, the mechanized looms, because they were being put out of work by this technology. And that's where the word Luddite comes from.
Yep.
Ned Ludd may well be a mythical character, but nevertheless, it's where this came from. And that was in 1779, so the more things change, the more things stay the same.
But that was the Luddites was explicitly job displacement.
Yeah.
So that is that.
I think there's a legit. I think there is not legitimate, but there's a
Luddite protest.
It is an economic protest, though. It's housing displacement. We are being evicted by the gentrification. This new 1% is taking away our city.
To which I say, would you prefer that the entirety of the economic benefit and jobs and everything else of the technology revolution had happened in Cleveland? San Francisco. So you're complaining about success. It's a weirdly American thing.
Well, I was trying to have this debate with Anil on Twitter, and I think the analogy is it's like they're sending buses to Brooklyn and Manhattan to take the employees over to their jobs in Newark, where they feed them all day and then send them back at the end of the day. Because if you actually look at the distance, it's about the same transit.
Yeah.
And Newark would be delighted to have.
And Newark
would be delighted.
I think Mountain View is very much like Newark. There's actually that's a very good analogy. And the reason they do it is nobody wants to live in Newark or Mountain View. They want to live in San Francisco or Manhattan.
It's not just that. I mean, I live in the South Bay.
But ironically, it's not Mountain View that's complaining. It's San Francisco that's complaining.
No, but they're complaining. The bus thing is they're complaining because they're clogging up the city bus stops with these buses, and
Yeah. However, if you took all the people out of the buses and had them in their cars, it would be a hell of a lot worse for everybody.
Yeah, and obviously it'd be much better if they subsidize Caltrain and put Wi-Fi on it.
Nevertheless, what this is really about, and I think there's a legitimate point to be made here, is the fundamental problem of income inequality, which is a growing problem nationwide.
Yes.
And that is where Tom Perkins is the appalling poster child for it, where he pops up with his ridiculous entitlement.
These poor people are just really getting on my nerves.
What was this, Kevin? What was the watch part of the Perkins thing?
The watch, well, it was something about Rolex watches, and as an aside, Perkins said, well, for this watch, I could buy a 6-pack of Rolexes. And then it's like, what? And then the interviewer followed up with him.
He's too rich and he's too out of touch. It really is. It's gone.
It says, well, it's a Richard Mille watch, and I was given to it by the company that built my yacht. So this is like fractal conspicuous consumption. Just stop doing it, kids. So
he can't stop. That's the problem.
It is this weird. There is this weird problem, and it's the fundamental attribution error. It's the root of all psychology, which is when I do something, it's because I'm great, and when you do something, it's because you're weird. You attribute things differently depending on who you are.
Here's the Bloomberg. Here's the Bloomberg piece.
I mean, Silicon Valley is. I think Kleiner Perkins itself over the years has created pretty close to 1 million jobs, and we're still doing it. It's absurd to demonize the rich for being rich and for doing what the rich do, which is get richer by creating opportunity for others.
How do you feel threatened?
Well, I said I didn't feel personally threatened. I feel, however, that as a class, I think we are beginning to engage in class warfare. I think the rich as a class are threatened through higher taxes, higher regulation.
Get off of my case. I want to move to an island.
That is my message.
We have an island for you. You and Lovey can move there. Bring your Rolexes.
Yes. No, this is the point. It's
but he also has a point.
He has a point, but it's this dreadful trickle-down point that was made 20 years ago and has shown not to actually work.
I think fundamentally technology...
He has not created that much wealth with his yachts and his watches.
No,
really.
I agree.
It's jobs for other people.
But and venture capitalists aside, technology is a democratizing...
it can be both. I mean, the problem is the Luddites had a point. They were being displaced.
Yes. And it's only a matter of time before all the travel agents rise up and go to the Expedia offices and with torches and pitchforks.
But it is a structural problem we have economically, which is that the kinds of jobs that we create with technology are much fewer in number and require much more qualifications to be employed with them.
I do think there's more opportunity. There's opportunity if you have education. There's a lot of opportunity.
But the sort of the large swath of the American middle class, which was people who were doing factory work jobs and things like that, that's gone. There was a
we've seen this coming for 20 years. Jeremy Rifkin wrote about this literally almost 30 years ago in The End of Work. We knew this was happening. There
was a fascinating thing from Pew Research, which I'm going to stick the link in the chat room, which was... Did I put it in the right place? Yeah. Fewer Americans identify as middle class. And this is quite striking. So from 53% being middle class, saying they're middle class in 2008, Now 44% say middle class and 40% say lower class, up from 25. So I think there's two things going on here. One is the notion that everyone's middle class, which has been the premise of American politics for a long time. You've got to get the middle class. But I suspect the other part of this is the Occupy movement saying, actually, there is a big problem of the 99%, and there are people who are taking money from you. And there's definitely a clear sense of loss of aspiration there, loss of this, oh yes, we can all be middle class. And you can see it kick in. Like 2011, there's a step function.
There's a drone coming for you, Kevin.
Be very careful what you say next, Mr. Marks. It could be your last.
Or it might just drop off an Amazon package. Who knows?
No, I think
one of the most fascinating Davos things I went to. Eric Brynjolfsson.
Davos, let's bring up Davos right now. That's gonna calm the waters. Yeah.
Touche. So Eric Brynjolfsson and Andy McAfee from MIT, who wrote the Race Against the Machine Kindle single, have a new book out, and they're exploring this. I've started reading it, but they're exploring this idea. I think it's a gigantic story that we haven't dealt with. I wrote about it, like a year and a half ago, about the notion of a jobless future. We are simply going to have fewer jobs, and we're not dealing with that.
Yeah, that was what Rifkin said in 1995. Actually, he said it earlier than that, but. Anyway, all right. We're going to take a break because this is depressing. And I've got to go take my Lexus to the dealer. I can't understand. No. It keeps taking me through poor neighborhoods. I've got to get that GPS fixed. That's a joke. Okay. Boy, there's no laughter at all. It's just
No, I'm with you. I'm giving you a smile.
I did buy an $1,800 toilet the other day.
And you're going to sail it on the sea.
I'm making jobs for people making toilets. Our show today.
People did ask you to stop with the poop on the show, and it's my fault. It's been my fault.
Who's people? 4 people on Twitter. That's not people. That's 4 people on Twitter. That's a different thing.
Actually, Chad already did poop. This is the 3rd poop in a row week.
I have not mentioned. Well, I did.
Right. I mean, it was dog, so
we are a little, a little different.
Everybody poops. It's poop.
My daughters taught me anything. It's that poop is a big part of life.
Freud said it's this fundamental thing. Let's talk about Squarespace, and this is a much nicer topic, shall we?
Sure you don't want to buffer here, Leo?
I should buffer. I should briefly buffer. Everybody just look at your Rolex for a moment, or whatever watch your architect happened to give you for building your yacht. And as the talk ticks. No, I do actually think income inequality is a growing problem, and it's very clear just from the numbers.
Yes.
And you know what? Maybe these protests in San Francisco are just the beginning of something that could be much.
No, Occupy Wall Street was
more dramatic. But yeah, Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy was it.
Yeah. That was aimed at bankers. This is now aimed at technology.
Yeah.
Okay, safe now.
Wait a minute. Here's a new picture from the chat room. Thank you, F and Dunn, for your Photoshop buffer. Low mileage, 2.91 billion. The sale has been made. There, a surprisingly large number of people came into the chat room and said, Lenovo just bought Motorola. Have they talked about it? You got to watch the show from the beginning if you want to get all the jokes. Our show today brought to you by Squarespace.com, the all-in-one platform that makes it very easy to create your next website. I think this is, I have to say, for all of the issues, one thing that does democratize this world is the ability to create your own website for as little as $8 a month at Squarespace.com. Maybe you make something that you could sell. You have a global marketplace. For $32 a month, you could do e-commerce, unlimited products, real or digital or services, real-time carrier shipping, label printing, integrated accounting, $32 a month. I mean, and the world is out there ready to buy your stuff. $8 a month for a personal site, the unlimiteds professional site, $16 a month when you buy an annual plan. Every Squarespace site looks unique. In fact, they make it easy to start. It's free. Just go visit. You don't need a credit card or anything. Just go to squarespace.com, click the Get Started button. You'll pick from 20 different gorgeous templates, each of them not only mobile ready, but e-commerce ready. That means your site's going to look great on any size screen and will have e-commerce built in if you choose. Pick the template you want. Of course, content is never tied to presentation, so enter in your content, import your content. They have importers from all the major blog APIs. You'll get all the pictures, all the links will be preserved, the comments too. And then you don't like it, push a button, you got a new design. And all the content remains. It's just beautifully done. The code is so elegant. So it's hosting plus the best software, the greatest support team 24/7 from their headquarters in New York City. They've got great apps too. The Squarespace Metric app for iPhone and iPad lets you check site stats like page views and unique visitors and social media follows. The blog app lets you make text updates, tap and drag images, change layouts, monitor comments from your phone. And this is all the best hosting with the best software. You got to try it. 2-week trial free. You don't need a credit card. You don't need our offer code. Just go to Squarespace and click that Get Started button. If you like it, if you set up a site and you use it for 2 weeks, you go, I think this is good. I want this to be my new webpage. Use our offer code TWIG1, TWIG, and the number 1, and you'll get 10% off and be showing your support for This Week in Google. Squarespace has been a great supporter of our efforts for a long time now on This Week in Google, and we thank him. Squarespace.com. Use the offer code TWIG and the number 1, TWIG1. Time for Gina Trapani's Tip of the Week.
Just in time for Super Bowl, Twitter has some new search filters. I'm kind of excited about this. When you search Twitter, you can now filter results by people, photos, videos, news. But this is my favorite one. You can say, just show me tweets from people I follow, or just show me tweets from people near me. So much easier to kind of go back and see your friends' tweets about certain topics or hashtags or whatever. And you can try it out with Super Bowl. You could see if, if any of your friends have talked about the game or any of the ads. You can say, just show me videos with the word Super Bowl in the tweet. So, commercials before they go live or after they get posted. Just really nice way to kind of unearth old tweets. I just went back and favorited, a bunch of my friends got notifications that I favorited stuff that they had posted months ago because I was just searching around for keywords and found, good stuff that I had missed that had kind of flown by me in my stream.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Of course, you should have Think Up as well.
Well, yes.
That way you know everything that's going on Twitter and all the people following you and all your most popular tweets and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, of course. And Facebook.
And Facebook.
And Facebook.
Oh, I forgot to add my Facebook. I got to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love Think Up.
Thanks.
I was showing it to folks just this week.
This is the one that cracks me up. This is from a few days ago. Did you see that free advertising followed Leo Laporte?
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah, we got to work on that algorithm. Sorry.
No, that's somebody that followed me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You see my most popular tweets from years gone by, what lists I'm on.
Oh, uh-oh. You got an error there that shouldn't be there.
Object number B bracket P has no method F. I think you might want to go to work on that, Gina.
That's a Google Charts API bug. Google.
What?
What is up with that?
What? There should be a nice graph there. That's the only one I saw, though. Everything else looks good. Oh, wait a minute.
Spoke too soon. Oh, no.
Gina has to leave now.
I got a bug to fix tonight. Clearly.
Wow. By the way, I had 42 people retweet my post. 112 people replied. 42 favorites. That's pretty good on a tweet.
That is pretty good. That's some serious activity.
Was that?
There.
It was me bitching about my GPS. I keep getting pulled through poor people's neighborhoods. No, I have this fancy Audi. I shouldn't have bought an Audi. It was a big mistake.
Oh, no, tell more.
The GPS doesn't work, and they say, oh, we don't have a fix. Just use your phone.
That's the fix? Use your phone?
Ooh.
By the way, it has Google Earth. It's beautiful. I could zoom in Street View, but it shows me here. I should show you. It shows me going off-road. And sometimes I'm in Bodega Bay.
Sue 'em.
Sue 'em? Can you sue him for something like that? I guess if I drove off-road.
Yeah, there's liability there.
I could sue. I think you have an obligation to look out the window, don't you? Am I wrong?
There have been cases, I do believe.
Really? I should look up the case law.
Yeah.
I just want them to fix it. I like the car in other respects. I just want them to fix the... I'll show you the picture. This is the smoking gun picture. I'm driving down a road, but apparently it's in the middle of the woods. Anyway.
Technology gone bad.
And you're right. I mean, it's a nice car. Somebody said, it's a nice car. Just enjoy your car. Yeah, but, you know,
it's a time machine. It's a time machine.
I used to be there. Oh, that's what it is.
1476.
Before they built the road, Google Earth is saying, this is a new feature of Google Earth. Google prehistoric Earth.
Right.
I think I see a dinosaur down there. Kevin, Marks, you have a thing or anything you'd like to share with us? A tip or something you like?
I've got a couple of things. So one is it's Homebrew Website Club tonight in both San Francisco and Portland. So if you want to chat about building your own websites and indie web things, it's 6:30 p.m. tonight. We're going to have a video link between the two. Chat about indie web stuff and websites, building your own website. And that happens if you can't do it tonight, it's every 2 weeks, every other Wednesday.
You mentioned you were doing this. I'm glad it's going well. That's great.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a nice group of people, and it's trying to build the web of your own stuff primarily, and then use the social networks to share it. That's the sort of core of the indie web message, and it's a nice group. I get on well with them. The other thing I wanted to mention was Model View Culture, which is a new magazine about the deeper perspectives on technology, and some of the stuff we talked about in the middle of the show today about its impact on society and what's happening and things like that. So that's Shanley Kane's new startup. She's she's been in dev relations in a bunch of different companies, and she's quit that to set up this magazine. So that's very interesting. I recommend that.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Cool. What's the URL again?
That one's I think it's just modelviewculture.com, I think.
Modelviewculture.com.
Nice. Yeah.
Mr. Jeffrey Jarvis, your number.
I have so many.
Yeah, give them all.
We could do the 100 seconds it took to fire 2/3 of Patch's staff in a voice message. We could do Prince sues 22 now former fans for $1 million each.
What is he? Now I saw that. What's he suing him for? You're a fan, I sue you?
Yeah. We could do, The Guardian says blogs turn 20, but I'm not sure I agree with that, so I'm going to skip that one. For the 5th year, Google is the best place to work, but I think I'll settle here.
Okay.
On an old Lycos patent, Ringo wins 1.36% of AdWords revenue.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That actually was in our rundown. I should have mentioned that. That is a huge... Are they going to... Is Google going to appeal?
Oh, yeah.
I would say Google's going to appeal.
So what is the patent?
The patent was... Oh, I read it earlier.
1.2% of AdWords revenue has got to be a lot of money. Hundreds of millions.
It's 1.36%. So I'll take that rounding error you just lost.
The rounding error alone would buy you a very nice home in San Francisco.
The AdWords program was tweaked by Google after the Ringo verdict wasn't colorably different from the old infringing problem.
Oh, man. That is so I presume there is room to appeal this. And
yeah. Jackson followed the methodology laid out in an East Texas case in which Yahoo was found to infringe on online advertising patent by famed patent troll. It's just one more of this stuff. But Jesus, 1.36% of Google AdWords? Jeez.
It's good money. Nice work if you can get it.
Yep.
All right.
Can I tell one other story real quickly?
Yes, please.
So I steer my yacht out of Davos and come into Zurich Airport to go up to the hotel for the night because I have an early flight out the next morning. And I stopped by the Starbucks, and I can't have any Starbucks in Davos because there aren't any, and B, because I can't get decaf coffee, and I have to have decaf coffee.
I can't believe there is no
Starbucks in Davos. It is tough. It is tough. Well, actually, the Cafe Klatsch in Davos is one of the best places in the world. Felix Salmon of Reuters loves it. It's wonderful, but Google takes it over. But anyway, so I go into a basement Starbucks in the Zurich airport, and I go up and I say, Guten Abend. And I ask for a medium decaf skim latte. Name, please. Name, bitte. Jeff. The guy looks up and he says, Twig?
What?
And so the picture is in there of no, I'm forgetting his name suddenly. Chad, can you put the picture up? It's the last one in the numbers section.
Yeah, I saw it actually on your Google Plus.
Loading. There we are.
Such a cute picture. That's so great.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, can you read his name? I can't remember his name.
That's adorable.
Isn't that cute?
Isn't that great?
He's a Twig fan. He's working at the Starbucks.
Fan, I think. Tens. That's his name. Tens.
That's a Tibetan name.
Is that it? Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Sherpa name. I wonder if he's from Tibet. Looks like he's from Tibet.
So he said, "Oh, could you take a picture?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I got to have one too." So the fellow barista took a picture of us, which I just think was great.
Isn't that neat?
So
that's fantastic.
This is the
small
power
world
of Twit.
Yeah.
This is the power of Leo Laporte. It's happened to me in Munich. It's happened to me in Zurich. It happens to me. People recognize me from this wonderful show. And thank you. Bless you, Leo Laporte.
All over the world, they recognize you must be the Davos guy. Let me see your Rolex. All right, I don't have a pick of the week. I was going to pick this Talon app, which is a new Twitter app that's quite gorgeous and beautiful. Have you guys talked about this in All About Android?
Which app is this?
It's a new paid Twitter app called Talon.
Oh no, we haven't talked about Talon.
And it's specifically for KitKat. It's quite beautiful, and I was going to recommend it, but it has killed my battery. So, I mean, and they even say because it will do streaming of your tweets, and he does say, I don't recommend this because it could kill your battery. TALON. I can't remember how much it is. I think it's $4 or $5. But that's nothing compared to the cost of this wristwatch. So Talon, there it is. Talon for Twitter.
Yeah, Talon.
But
I had looked at it as, and I thought I need to use this for a couple of days before I bring it up in the arena, and I just hadn't gotten around to installing it. So you like it, but it killed your battery.
Oh, it's wonderful, and the story, and one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it, the story about the author is kind of cool too. If I can find his name, he's a student, a full-time student who kind of just wrote this in his spare time. He has a number of other apps as well.
I don't think there are any businesses that are writing Twitter apps.
It'd be crazy. But it has Talon Pull. It's got a lot of things that will just kill the battery. There it is, Clinker Apps. And it's just a neat story about
Evolve.
Yeah.
We're familiar with this.
This kid's going somewhere.
So I got distracted
Jacob
because,
Clinker.
Circa sent me an update about the Motorola purchase, and apparently Google is going to retain ownership of the division that runs Project Ara, which is the modular smartphone effort towards making smartphones you can snap together. So Google's keeping that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because that's a very labby kind of thing. Something
the division in charge of Project Ara is called Advanced Technology and Projects, and headed by former DARPA chief. And so Google holds on to Ara. Which
I really wouldn't want to be in that division right now. Just saying. By the way, the chat room's telling me it's $1.99. It just was updated yesterday, so maybe the battery life issues are better. I will try it again. And the author is a student at the University of Iowa, Jacob Clinker, who's written some really good by himself. Some really good apps. This is a kid to watch. Obviously, very, very smart. It's compatible with all versions of Android. You don't have to have a KitKat. All right, that's it for the show. Hey, thank you very much. Gita Trapani is at thinkup.com. Do you have a time frame for consumer version?
Next couple weeks, we're actually going to be at New York Tech Meetup next Tuesday night. So we're scrambling, but if not next week, then the week after.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank
Yeah.
you. Another great show. Loved it.
Always a pleasure.
Always love being here.
We'll see you on All About Android on Tuesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time as well.
Absolutely.
Jeff Jarvis is at the City University of New York. He is also a fabulous writer. You can catch many of his books at Amazon, all of his books at Amazon.com, including the fabulous Public Parts and free today only, Gutenberg the Geek. Save a buck.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. Kevin Marks, kevinmarks.com. Follow him on Twitter and Google+. Great to have you.
Great to be here.
We do This Week in Google every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2100 UTC, twit.tv. Please watch live. Love it if you do. And when there's breaking news, it's exciting. But if you can't, don't worry. On-demand audio and video, always available after the fact, twit.tv/twig or wherever finer netcasts are aggregated and delivered to your device via the interweb. Like iTunes, perhaps, or Google Play. I don't know. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Twig.